Here we are in the holiday season of 2017, and we tend to get just inundated with sweets. In my chiropractic office in Woburn, Massachusetts, we have had thousands of patients who are loving us, and they're super grateful for the chiropractic care for themselves and their family. One of the things that they do to share their appreciation is they bring us gifts, and we love and appreciate that, and thank you. Thank you very much for that. Now, during the holiday season, it tends to be sweets. A lot of them tend to be home baked, and they're fantastic. But you can imagine, we've had thousands of patients with many hundreds of patients under active care. How many we can get in our little office, myself and three great staff. So what I have is, and I've done this in the past, and people really appreciate this. So I'm going to talk about what we're doing here in 2017. And the reason I'm sharing you with this is, again, we tend to get inundated with sugar. Maybe this is something we can adopt as families, as neighbors, as even in schools as well. As an alternative to sweets, I have an idea. So here's what we did. This is my handout here for 2017. The first portion is called The Grinch. Thousands of you love and appreciate our office and chiropractic care. Thank you very much. During the holiday season, many of you wish to express your appreciation with gifts, especially sweets and candies. As you can imagine, we can be buried with love in the form of cookies, pies, cakes, and candy. If you love us, please don't bring us sweets and candies. So we're pleading with you not to bring us that. That's the Grinch. We want to live long and prosper too. But we want to transform the Grinch into an angel. So here's the angel portion. However, if you want to show your love and appreciation for us, here's a few ideas. Make a donation to your favorite charity in our name. Most of my patients do that. If you don't already have a charity in mind, consider a donation to a soup kitchen or food pantry anywhere where you live, where you watch this. Or in Woburn, here's a couple of them. One is called thedwellingplacewoburn.org. The Dwelling Place Woburn. It's a church-based soup kitchen. The other one in Woburn is called socialconcern.org, Social Concern. So if you don't already have something in mind, that's what you could do. Another aspect is refer a new patient to us, to our chiropractic office, and pay for their initial visit. That's appreciated. Many of my patients have done that. If somebody you know, whether it be a family member or friend, has not been to our chiropractic office in a while, and you have told them, hey, you need to go back there, you know you do, offer for them to go back and pay for their return visit. There's an option for you as well. Everybody benefits from that, and that cuts down on our sugar intake. So thank you very much for considering that. And I think we can all use this idea as cutting down on the amount of sugar, particularly from November through December into January, that we all tend to consume. A little bit of that just for a minute on how important it is to decrease our sugar. One of my favorite authors on this subject is Dr. Robert Lustig. He is a pediatric endocrinologist, and he has a specialty on obese infants and young children. If you want a little more information about how serious our sugar intake is to the negative aspects of our health, go to YouTube, and you can link in, just put in Dr. Robert Lustig and enter in Sugar the Elephant in the Kitchen. That will link you to a 22-minute TED Talk that he did in Bermuda a few years ago. That's a nice summary of what he's talking about. If you want a little more nitty-gritty and a little more physiology on the damaging aspects to our liver and so forth, go to YouTube, put in Dr. Robert Lustig, and enter Sugar the Bitter Truth. And that will come up with an hour-and-a-half video, a talk that he's done. It's got 7.5, almost 8 million hits, I think, right now. And that will go into how serious the sugar epidemic is. In there, he's going to make the case that he thinks the FDA should regulate sugar like a toxin or a poison. Okay. A little bit about diabetes. Now, I'm going to pick on soda here for a moment. If we were to add, anyone in the world was to add just 150 calories per day of increased food intake, just caloric intake, your risk of type 2 diabetes goes up 0.1%. Not a lot. However, Dr. Robert Lustig has shown us that if that 150 extra calories comes from soda, just soda now, your risk of type 2 diabetes goes up 1.1%. Well, that's an 11-fold increase over just calories from any other source. 11 times increased risk of type 2 diabetes by increasing your calories by soda only. And how many people are drinking more than one soda? Now, of course, that's a sugary soda, and you might say, well, I'm off the hook, I drink diet soda. Not true. Diet soda has excitotoxins in it, the fake sugars that we've talked about. Those tend to kill off the portion of the hypothalamus that tells you when you're full. So when you're drinking diet soda, you're actually killing off the neurons that give you the full signal, making you even more apt to overeat and consume more calories, actually making the situation worse. So be careful of that. We also know that the increase in sugar intake from any source, including soda, and fruit juice, and sport drinks, and the other drinks that we have as well, it causes an increase in liver fat. That is the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's addictive, we know this. It causes inflammation and interferes with brain development in kids as well. Now, type 3 diabetes has a name to it. Type 3 diabetes, that is something that a lot of doctors are using, and I agree with that as well. Type 3 diabetes is the Alzheimer's dementia. And we know that when we increase our sugar intake, it's causing blood sugar dysregulation. Blood sugar dysregulation results in an increase in insulin. When we increase our insulin response, we're causing systemic inflammation in all cells of our body. Every cell gets affected. And then when we have that inflammation, it affects our brain and our brain's metabolism, leading us to the type 3 diabetes or an increase in Alzheimer's dementia. That's why we have to really work on, all of us together. This is how important it is. One medical diagnosis is going to sink healthcare in this country and very possibly sink the entire country, and that's Alzheimer's dementia. And one cause, not the only cause, but one cause is our diet. And one big portion of our diet, which is a big problem, is our increase in sugar. And just a little bit about that, a little historical information is, around the year 1822, the average person in the United States was taking in about 6 pounds of added sugar, not natural sugar in foods now, 6 pounds of added sugar per person per year. It's now 150 or 170 pounds or more, depending on the source that you read. It's now 1 pound every other day. It's a half a pound of added sugar per person per day as compared to 6 pounds per person per year. That's not the only problem that we have, but it's a huge factor in what's going on here. If you want to read a little bit more about what I'm talking about, here are 3 resources that I really like. Dr. William Davis, he's a medical physician. He wrote the book Wheat Belly, great read. Dr. David Perlmutter has read several books. I read his book, BrainRecovery.com, The Better Brain Book, Grain Brain, and then he has another one now called Brain Maker. Dr. David Perlmutter, he's a medical neurologist. Read his information. And then I mentioned Dr. Robert Lustig. Not only does he have those videos, but he has the book called Fat Chance. Fat Chance is an excellent read. So the reason I like these 3 doctors as well is the 3 books have 2 words that are easy to remember. Wheat Belly, Grain Brain, and Fat Chance. Again, they will help you understand what you can do for yourself and for your children, which is just so important and so critical, is to reduce our processed foods and specifically our sugar intake. Maybe this little example, this little idea that I have distributed in my office, you can utilize between your families and friends, neighbors, co-workers, also at the workplace, right? Let's cut down on the sugar. Let's bring in cut up vegetables and homemade dip as snacks instead of brownies and cookies and candy, right? That will help turn the tide and understand we can still love our food and love gifts for each other, but we can actually improve our health in that aspect instead of always declining in our health.